Well, hi, and welcome to my office. And what we're going to be doing here is comparing this beautiful Westinghouse radio. It doesn't look so beautiful, it's not in its cabinet. This Westinghouse radio against a venerable boat anchor radio, the Hammarlund SP-600. Okay, before we get going though, I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, there's a light that's going to flicker in here. The flickering light means nothing. You'll see it as we go along. It flickers on and off. Just ignore that. Secondly, if I'm quiet for a moment, you can probably hear some funny swishing, whistling sound. That's an artifact of my office computer audio system, which I have been completely unable to sort out and figure out why it does what it does. So I'm just going to have to accept it. As long as we're making a little bit of noise, there's a light flashing now. As long as we're making a little bit of noise here with the radios, it probably won't be that significant in the video. But by the way, if anybody knows what that sound is, let me know, because I'd love to get it out of my computer audio system. So let's talk a little bit about the two radios we're going to compare. One is this Westinghouse radio. I forgot the model number. It might be 622. This radio in my shop performed fantastic. Well enough that I think it'd be interesting to compare it to a somewhat famous boat anchor radio, the Hammarlund SP-600. You can also see I have another radio here, Collins R390A, which we won't be operating in this little experiment, or this little comparison. And we may tune in this Grundig Satellit 800 now and then. The beauty of this radio is, of course, it has a digital screen, so I know exactly what frequency we're tuned to. Both this radio and this radio, it's really difficult to know exactly what you're tuned to. But I did do a little bit of fiddling around before starting up the video here while I was setting up the equipment and that. And at the moment, both these radios are tuned to exactly the same frequency, so we're starting off with them at the same point. A few more things. The output of this radio is fed through an amplifier here in my office. I also have this audio control box here, which you'll see me operating and slide up and down. And switch it on, try that again. So that's the volume control for the Hammarlund SP-600. So it's coming out of some large speakers that are down below here you can't see. It's pretty obvious where the speaker is for the Westinghouse. It's this gigantic speaker just sitting up here in the open. It's not even in a cabinet. With it not in a cabinet, some of the bass response of that speaker is going to be muted. You're not going to hear it as bassy as it could potentially sound. Now, of course, this radio was built to be in people's homes, and this radio was built to be spying on other nations and doing all kinds of things for basically the American military system, although I'm sure these radios got in the hands of other countries, maybe even including Canada, where I am. I've had this radio for probably 30 years now. It's a wonderful radio. So, it'd be really interesting to compare the reception between this guy and this guy. So let's turn this one on. Give it a moment to warm up. I don't have any of the dial lights in on this radio, so it still looks like it's off, but it's definitely coming on. We'll hear it in a moment. So the volume control for this radio is right on the radio itself. The volume control for this one, although it has its own volume control, I'll be using the slider here. So what I was listening to earlier is long gone. Well, there's a little something there. But let's tune now, and we'll see what we can find. I'll tune the Westinghouse.
Si muero por mañana me encuentro donde ya dormidito, bueno.
So I just tuned it a little tiny bit to pick up a station. I'll let you listen for a minute and get used to the sound of it.
¿En qué año murió, Padre Carlos?
Del año 74, el 20 de septiembre del año 74.
Pues Padre, no tenemos que perder más tiempo, nos ha contado, nos ha relatado lo que hace el Señor en el corazón de un hombre que ha estado en la cumbre, humanamente hablando, ¿verdad? Teniéndolo todo y sin embargo cuando el Señor lo llama responde a esa llamada, la vocación y en este caso...
Okay, now we'll try to find the same station on this radio. Oh, right there. So it's interesting just to note that I turned this radio on and it came right back to exactly the right frequency. This one I had to tune a little bit, so this will probably drift while it warms up fully.
Estaba preparando una manifestación de para cuando se quiera por de pronto un grado de santidad, ¿no? Y en eso porque realmente merece tener un grado de santidad.
We'll switch to the Hammarlund.
Por su renuncia, por todo lo que hizo él. Perdona que vuelva un poquito atrás. Fue ardiente de la obra franciscana. Entonces, hasta formé un estudiantado nuevo para vocaciones tardías en Grundig, aquí en Hacho. Ahí le dieron casa donde tuve vocaciones y han salido buenos sacerdotes. Eso fue su preocupación vocacional franciscana. Bueno, nos despedimos.
Claro, Padre. ¿Nos da su bendición, por favor?
El Señor os bendiga y os guarde. Tengan misericordia de vosotros. Os mire benignamente y os conceda la salud y la paz. Que el Señor, la Santísima Virgen y San José su esposo y San Francisco de Asís os bendiga. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. Amén.
Amén. Damos las gracias al Padre Carlos Montesinos del convento de San Francisco de Asís en Lima, Perú, que fue ordenado el 4 de abril de 1948 y nació en Puerto de Moliendo, en el departamento de Arequipa, el 29 de julio de 1925. Padre.
I'm just going to look up what this actually is. It's 12 megahertz, 12050. How do you say that? 1250. Without confusing people. So I'll look it up here on the internet and just see what it is. Well, according to this, it's coming from the United States. It's EWTN in Spanish, and it is in Spanish, so I think this is correct. So this is actually coming from the United States, maybe 1,000 miles away from my house, perhaps, that far.
Estamos escuchando la voz de Fray José Francisco de Guadalupe, en nombre de la religión. Oración 5.
Donde hay error, donde haya duda, donde hay tristeza, donde
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll try to find a weaker station now to compare. This one's quite strong.
That received praise from millions of well-known science magazines around the world. Now, the third generation of postgraduate students shall be attended to 15 anniversary conventions at the National founded 50 years ago by collaborators to West Africa. My sound engineer and producer today was the Seco Sabuco at Radio Havana Cuba Studio number 2.
Ben in Cuba, this is Cuba.
And we work in that distribution network at the same time. So shortwave frequency and worldwide connection to another edition of Breakthrough.
invited Lionel Hampton to record 2 numbers with him. So began Lionel Hampton's career as a vibraphone. Invented 10 years forward.
Was essentially a xylophone with metal bars, a sustained pedal, and the resonator equipped with electric-powered fans to add reverb.
Early 1930s, Lionel studied music at the University of Sussex. By 1934, he was leading the Lionel Hampton Orchestra, and eventually became known for his dazzling showmanship. The band was
Get your hat, leave your worries on the door.
We're listening to the SP-600 right now, in case you got confused.
Let your river
Lionel Hampton married Gladys Riddle, Junior Harrison. Thereafter,
Lionel was the one of music, Gladys physics.
What's this radio now? This is the Satellite 800.
Also in November 1936, Benny Goodman saw Lionel perform in LA. and invited him to join his theatre, which must be seen celebrated in 2020.
Switch from here to here.
Were among the first racially integrated jazz groups.
And back.
Benny Goodman's quartet.
Now back to this radio.
He formed his own big. Flying Alpaca's orchestra was popular during the 1940s and 1950s. His recording with the orchestra in 1942 produced a classic version of Fly.
Now, just a few more things about these radios. Both this radio and this radio, I can control the bandwidth. This one is set to its maximum bandwidth, 6 kilocycles, 6 on here. This one is set to 800. Figure that out. So maybe we just ignore ignore these numbers and just listen to it. This one I cannot control the bandwidth on it. Control the tone a little bit, but not the bandwidth. Let's find another station to pick up here. Now another factor is the satellite is producing much more bass, and that's because it's designed to do that. Or maybe I should put it this way. The SP-600 is designed to not produce a lot of bass. It's really targeting voice transmissions and other kinds of technical transmissions. It's really not all about listening to music. That was not what this was intended for. So let's start with this one again.
Alucinado el sueño de ángeles, le escuchamos a David Blanco
A nuestro pequeño concierto. Y para despedirnos, vamos a escucharlo de nuevo, ahora con Locos por la Música.
Okay, we'll find another station. This radio is hard to tune because it doesn't have its big knobs on it. With the knobs on it, this would be a wonderful radio to tune. But I'm tuning just from the shaft here. It's a little tricky to do it. So there's. stations. There we are. Okay, so all this has been in one band. Let's go quite a distance here to a very different part of the band. We were up at 11.7. Well, let's take it down to around 6 megacycles here. May not be late enough at night for this. That's about 6.1, somewhere around there. No, those are different. So according to this, what we're listening to is a Caribbean beacon from the University Network. Let's see if I can find this on the big Hammarlund here. Is this satellite? Hammer. And now back to the Westinghouse. So I'll give a shot at maximizing the SP-600 here. Back to the 800. Back to here. Back to here. $800. SP-600. That's not good. Westinghouse? So what I'm doing when I'm listening, by the way, is I'm listening very carefully to what this woman is saying. And I'm trying to understand each word and understand in my own mind how easy it is to hear what she's saying. And then I'm flipping to the other radio and doing the same thing, listening to see if it's easier to understand what she's saying. It's not about the hiss, it's not about the tone, it's all about, can I understand what is being said, or is it kind of mumble, if you like. So let's go through the radios again. We'll go with the 800. This is a great signal to try this with, by the way. It's nice and weak. 800, SP-600, and then the Westinghouse. And by the way, all these radios are connected directly to the same antenna. Here we go. So we'll start with the 800. have a very hard time understanding anything that she's saying there. Again, very hard time understanding a word. Okay, first round. Westinghouse wins. I can't believe it. Let's go through it again. We'll start with the Westinghouse, then we'll go SP-600, and then we'll go to the 800. Here we go. Now the 800. Back to the Westinghouse. It kind of floors me, but the Westinghouse is actually a little easier to understand. Isn't that something? Let's go way up high on the band.
De agua de pasajeros con copia de Cienfuegos, Monseñor Domingo exigen una disculpa ante la feligresía por haber expulsado las barras de blanco del templo. El coordinador de la organización de la localidad, don Alberto de la Nueva.
Satan was too strong for a test. Way up. At this time of day, we shouldn't get anything up here. Let's see what we get. We're up around 15 megacycles now. And it's about 8 o'clock at night here. Let's see if we can find that with the Hammarlund. That's dramatically different. It's the same station. So Westinghouse, now the Hammarlund.
Y su homólogo de Túnez, Bexiga y Sepsi expresaron el viernes su solidaridad para hacer frente al terrorismo después de los ataques registrados por sus respectivos países. Telefónica, la intentó las fuentes de país para consolidar información. Más tarde se está buscando para acabar con las instrucciones islámicas.
Now we'll find it on the 800. Could be this signal is being broadcast at two frequencies, and we picked it up on a strong one here and a weaker one there. So I'm going to tune this guy around a little bit, see if we can pick this up again, because it's a dramatic difference. Nope. Nope, that's the spot. Compare again. Westinghouse. Hammarlund, and now the 800. Just between the SP-600 and the Grundig 800. Grundig? Hammarlund. Okay, believe it or not, we're listening to Radio China in Spanish from Cuba. So China is renting time on a Cuban transmitter and broadcasting in Spanish, of course, because they're interested in getting their message out to South America. They're not going to broadcast in Chinese. Nobody in South America is going to listen. China has a very large presence on shortwave these days. So it's pretty clear here. Both the boat anchors, well, the boat anchor, the pretend to be boat anchor, beat the Westinghouse, beat it to death. Okay, let's go in the middle, somewhere around 11 megaseconds. About 11,500.
And nice little unit that, as you say, can be controlled.
Let's go into what you see. This amendment to allow people tonight, which was proposed to put it down to 156 cities and in offices.
Hey, what's happened to my radio?
Another category of marriage add-on.
There we go.
Wouldn't get
It
it.
didn't change anything, it just expanded it.
That's right. But of course, when we began to look at it, we thought this was absolute nonsense.
Oh my gosh, can you believe it? I just whipped that dial and right on. What are the chances of that?
Yes, nothing to do with family, nothing to do with children. But of course, once you look into it, you see immediately the consequences.
What's happening to my radio?
Immediately, the word recognizes jumps out,
Yikes.
because that's not the word British existence is discussion. The state isn't a family. The state doesn't permit the family. The state doesn't allow it. It recognizes family. The family creates the state. The state acknowledges that. The state doesn't stand before the family as a superior and antecedent.
SP-600?
So in a sense, there's a sleight of hand being
Westinghouse.
attempted here and successfully in this case, whereby the implication is that the state has the gifting of these rights, and that we can invite the people to revoke their own rights. And there is nothing in the council that happening. You see that the family is a moral institution, possessing inalienable and infrastructural rights that can't be taken away, and rights that can't. Antecedent and superior to all possible.
Something going on with my Hammarlund here. Let's find it on the 800.
Father, I cannot abandon my father. Even at one point, I cannot walk away from my child. That would be a crime against her and against myself, and therefore against both of our human structures, and there is no worse crime. And similarly, as a daughter, I can't do that. I can't make a gesture that would have the effect of doing that.
Back to the Hammarlund?
And neither can anybody else. So the whole thing, the whole edifice has been bogus from the beginning. But in a more technical sense, what's actually going to happen as a result of
Back to the Westinghouse.
I mean, we
pointed out in relation to just one word, that word natural. The state recognizes the family as natural. Natural, clearly, at the moment means, and jurisprudence to date shows that this is absolutely accepted, that natural in that context refers to the natural biological procreative capacity of a man.
Okay, I'd go back up to around 15 megacycles and try that one more time, because this radio competes well with these other two. It did not do well up around 15, and I'm still thinking maybe I didn't have exactly the same station tuned in, so let's try it again.
Más esperados. Esto es Carta de Beijing. Les saluda su amigo Raúl. Y a mi lado se encuentra mi hermosa colega María. Hola María.
Raúl. ¿Qué tal amigos? Es un placer reencontrarme con ustedes. Por motivos sus cartas que nos han dejado en el correo electrónico.
Ahora, solamente en 2 horas, vamos a llegar a través por allá a postar para la
Y empezamos con la carta de Alexa Samurai de Perú, que nos dijo que
Something's going on with my big old Hammarlund here. Isn't that too bad? I don't know what it is, but okay, let's pick it up on this station here. Let me just listen to it.
A través de la presentación que se realizó en el
This radio right here. It's the same station we had before. Let's just compare them between here and here. 800. Okay, so a couple more comments about the difference between these radios. This radio is a double conversion radio. This one probably is also. When you get up into the higher frequencies, this radio will first convert, I think, it's to 10.7, and then convert again to 455. So it actually has 2 IFs in it, and this helps reduce images. And it probably has some other benefits too. I'm not aware of, but mostly it's to make sure there aren't any images. This one probably does double conversion also. I just don't know offhand. This one is a single conversion radio, so you're way up on these high frequencies, and the local oscillator is only 455 kilohertz away. And it's a good possibility of having images show up. Whether that affects the actual tunability, listenability of the radio, I'm not sure. And this last comparison, it stood up fairly well. I don't know what happened the first time we were up around 15 megahertz. So, I've done this with quite a few radios. Very few can stand up to these guys. Very few. This Westinghouse radio has been surprising all the way along, including in this test. I'm really impressed with it. It's harder to tune. If I had the knobs on it, it would be a little bit easier. But even then, the amount of bandwidth here, for instance, let me just demonstrate. You just watch my hand. I'm going to go from 15 to 16. So this is 15 to 16. There's 16. Now I'll show you 15 to 16 on this one. Okay, there's 15. There's 16. And now we'll do the same on this one. You put in 15 megahertz. Now we'll tune up to 16. Bit of a difference, eh? That's what it took to get to 16. So, now this one, of course, you can punch in a number and get there quickly. And so the fact that you have to crank this a lot is really only for local, close tuning. It's not meant for going right across the band. You push buttons to go across the band. So, and this radio has the fantastic feature of being able to spin like that. This is a lot of fun. In fact, in terms of fun, this radio probably takes it. Although I'm really not demonstrating that in this video. This is a real fun radio to use. This is very nice too. And this guy is really pretty good. It's really, really pretty good. I'm very impressed. This radio is, I'm not sure when this was built. Your guess is as good as mine. Mid-90s, mid-1990s. This one was probably built in the late 50s. And this guy here, if I remember right, I may not remember right. Well, it's a late 30s or early 40s. This is really the oldest radio on this. So pretty impressive, eh? To think when this radio was new, it probably performed better. And people back in the day, listening to this radio, were using something that had the capability of this super expensive. This was a super expensive military grade radio, or this very modern high-tech radio. This one was built to compete directly with a guy like this, or the Collins, which were not operating tonight. So I hope you enjoyed that. Pretty interesting stuff, to me anyway. This isn't a 100% technically perfect comparison. I am listening with a microphone. Speakers are different. The location in the room's a little different. So it's not really a 100% comparison. I don't have any meters connected. I'm not doing anything like that. But you know, it's really important to listen to these radios and hear them. And boy, I'm really impressed. Besides, look at the size of that speaker. Holy smokes! That's a speaker of intimidation there. The speaker is almost as big as this radio. I'm sure when this guy is back in the cabinet, its tonal qualities have been greatly improved, and it probably really kicks butt. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Amazing radio. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you soon back in my shop. Good ending.